When it comes to everyday life, a lot of us have habits, whether it's chewing your fingernails, hitting that snooze button on the alarm, or cracking your knuckles. Bad habits can be very hard to break. That can be especially true when it comes to financial habits, which is what we're going to be looking at in today's video. When it comes to a lot of the normal habits that you do on a day-to-day and your finances, it can be very detrimental when you're not following them and very harmful for your financial wellness as an individual. Looking at number one, which is not budgeting. We always talk about this, not following a basic budget can be very detrimental. Now, regardless of what you want to call it, if it's a budget, if it's a spending plan, if it's a general rule that you're going by on how you're going to manage your budget, you have to make sure that you have accountability and you're not living outside of your means. This is very easy to do, especially in today's economy, looking at the rising prices of pretty much everything across the board. It can be incredibly difficult to make things affordable. However, if you start this, I promise you, it will be a habit that once you start, you will never want to stop. You'll also take note of things that you're spending money on that you really don't want to. When you look and align it with your financial goals, both your short-term goals and your long-term financial goals, building out the budget will make sense. Now, I really do stress with this, and I follow a budget on a monthly basis. I actually do the zero-based budgeting. But if you're following a budget, you have to build things in there that you enjoy to do. If you make your budget so incredibly strict that you're never going to follow it, you got to have money for things that you love. I love collecting Magic the Gathering cards. It is something that I budget for. I put money into AFK Arena, a mobile game that I have a channel for on YouTube. Again, I budget for that every single month. You have to budget for things in your life that you do love to do. Now, number two, ignoring your credit until it matters. I see this in a financial institution almost every single day. A lot of individuals not working on the credit, not making their payments on time. Those balances on those credit cards are getting too high. Really not looking at anything until the need comes to pull your credit. Then all of a sudden we pull your credit. You got a 7, you got a 750 credit score. We do a hard inquiry. It comes back at a 620. All of a sudden your 7% rate goes up to 15%. Or worst case scenario, we can't even borrow to you anymore. Now, credit scores do take a while not only to go down. Going down is kind of like a very slippery slope where if your credit score starts decreasing, if those balances start getting high, if you miss a payment, it is going to go down. It is going to go down fast. The road to recovery on the other side does take a little bit more time, but overall, as long as you're monitoring your credit on a regular basis, making sure that you're paying on everything on time, keeping the balances on those cards low, that way, when you go to get a house, when you go to, do something, getting an auto loan, you're going to have the best possible credit that you have. Now, again, a lot of individuals that I see, they'll come in, they'll be ready for a mortgage, pull their credit, they don't qualify because of their credit score. They didn't think about this 6-12 months ago, knowing in 6 to 12 months they were going to be looking to buy a house, giving them the time frame to really fix and repair their credit. Now, there's a lot of places out there as well that say they can fix their credit in an instant. Might take a day to fix your credit, a week. Guys, most of those are not legit. I don't know any place that is literally, short of there being massive inaccuracies on your credit report, that is going to repair and kind of replace that credit report overnight. It is a methodical process to repairing that credit. Next one we look at is carrying a balance on the credit card. Now, this, of course, can be very detrimental, and people do it every single day. We've known, and even following Dave Ramsey, people spend more with credit cards. When there is no money tied to it, when it is something that is literally just a piece of plastic in your pocket, you don't have the same emotional connection as spending those $100 bills or using the debit card to actually do that purchase that is tied to the bank account, that is tied to the money in there, that you're accountable for, that you're budgeting to. Because if you overspend with a credit card, if you have a limit on there, most people don't care. Or even if you overspend, you're not going to get to the point where you're out of money, which means that's the reason to use the debit card, going in there, making sure you're paying off your balance every single month. But a lot of people will say the oldest term that I really hear is, what about the rewards? I get rewards on my card. Guys, if you're carrying a balance on your card, I guarantee you that you're paying for those rewards, and you're probably paying for those rewards probably 10x what their actual value is, depending on the card that you have. Now, again, I know it can seem to help a little bit, but overall, if you're spending more on your card because you're using a credit card versus using the debit card, not only the accountability aspect of it, but you're paying for the rewards if you're carrying a balance. Now, roughly when it comes to percentage wise, when it comes to capacity, you want to see around a 20%. Most people say 30, but I'm a little conservative, 20 to 30% or less utilization. Meaning if you have a card with $1,000 limit, you're looking at $200 to $300 that you're putting on that card or keeping the balance much below that. Now, ideally, you want it at zero. If you do not start off with credit card debt, if you do not start accumulating with credit card debt, guess what? You're going to grow up without it, and you're going to grow up without having that debt burden and without having that credit card debt. Next one we look at is automating bills. Now, I am a huge fan of automating the bills, but similar to what we're doing with the budget, when you automate your bills, you have to pay attention, guys. This is kind of crazy that it is kind of the set it and forget it methodology when it comes to a lot of individuals, meaning that we've had a lot of people that, let's say, set up your auto insurance, your homeowner's insurance. You have a lot of subscription plans. If the plan increases, if the insurance goes up, and that is exactly what we've seen, prices in Michigan for insurance have went up roughly 30 to 40%, which is kind of crazy. So if you're paying $200 a month for your car insurance, chances are you could be paying $280 at the renewal. If you have it set up on automatic, they might send you a letter. Most of it just comes as an e-statement or an e-declaration saying, hey, your auto insurance premium is changing. This is going to be the new amount without much knowledge to you, really, to lose track and not understand exactly what is going on. But a lot of people lose track of what is going up. We've seen this also with subscription services where, if Netflix is $6, then it's $10, then it's $12, now it's $15. It'll go up and literally just keep charging you that reoccurring charge without you knowing, without you paying any attention to the increase that is on there. We have also seen this with gym memberships. If there's an increase, the increase just goes in place. The automatic renewal, go ahead and it happens on a monthly basis or an annual basis. Then all of a sudden the charge is way higher than you thought it was going to be, and you're scrambling to make up that debt because of the charge that essentially went through because it was automated. Now, setting and forgetting your 401k. I am bad at this, and I am really notorious for this one, guys. I'm going to take accountability for the 401k. So when I started a new job, put money in my 401k, Vanguard recommended the target date funds. I really broke it down, and once I started putting money and getting an account that actually had a decent balance, I printed out all of the prospectus when it comes to the target date funds. I also printed out all the prospectus for the rest of the funds that I had the ability through my 401k to actually invest in. Looking over a 1 year, a 5 year, a 10 year for those funds, the target date funds through Vanguard were the worst performing funds that were available for me to buy. However, after talking to a lot of my coworkers and colleagues, they were invested in those same target date funds. Vanguard literally through our 401k provider was putting us in those Vanguard target funds without looking at everything that we have. I was averaging probably about 3 to 4%, which for some people will be pretty impressive, but I moved it over. We structured it a little bit different, broke it up into some mid caps, large caps, small caps, some international. Now it's performing, I believe last year was about 26%, which is kind of crazy to think that your 401k is producing that high or growing that much, but you have to pay attention to what it is invested in. Working with a financial advisor, and most 401k plans do have a company that has a free person that you can talk to. You have to make sure, because what's going to happen with those target date funds is when you're at a younger age, it's going to be a lot into stocks, very little to no in bonds. As you continue to age, as you continue to get closer to retirement, they start getting rid of stocks on a regular basis and starting to buy a little bit more stability with bonds. Bonds notoriously have a lower yield if you look historically into what the stock market, the S&P 500, a couple other places have really returned. So I challenge you, check your 401k, look at the perspectives, look at the return that you've been getting in there, making sure that you're doing this. And also, you should look at this at least once a year, guys, knowing that everything is right in your 401k. You got your beneficiary set up, you know your money is invested in there, and also making sure when they pay attention that new funds are going to be added or giving you the ability to change some of the funds as they remove and add funds into those 401k plans. Next one we look at is our favorite, which is the Robo Advisor. So with the rise of artificial intelligence, with the rise of Robo Advisors that are pretty much little to no fees, Robo Advisors blindly letting algorithms choose your investments can be very detrimental. And again, I have seen this firsthand from a lot of individuals that really put money into a Robo Advisor, lost a ton of money or didn't have any returns, but a majority of them lost a significant amount of money depending on who it is. Now, of course, the Robo Advisor just uses whatever you want to say. If you're saying, hey, I want it aggressive, I want it conservative, well, however you build it, there is can be a error aspect in there when it comes to some of the Robo Advisors. Not anything against them though, because I have seen some that have performed incredibly well. And I feel like it's kind of at the point where we're fine tuning exactly how these are going to work, but making sure that you know what it's invested in. Again, very similar to our 401k, making sure you know exactly where it is putting your money, making sure you don't have, everything in one basket, that you have your risk profile set correctly, making sure that you're holding things across different sectors, going to make a very, very big difference. And I know it does take a little bit of time and effort, but you want to make sure, again, that you are set up correctly to allow that plan to really grow. Next one we look at is the get rich quick investing. When you look at cryptocurrencies, as many, success stories you see, all of the fabulous YouTube videos that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars. When you look at TikTok, when you look at Instagram, when you look at the news, these crypto millionaires are being minted every single day. But it doesn't report all the people that are going broke, all the people that are losing their money, all the people that bought crypto and then it dropped 50% and they cashed out and they lost half of their savings. Investments to get rich quick are very hard, trying to time the market, trying to time the price, even individual stocks. This is the reason why personally, I do not invest in individual stocks. I choose ETFs because it is not flashy, it is not exciting, but it gives me very long-term investing growth strategy and it performs incredibly well. If you're looking to get rich overnight, only real way to do that is lottery. I know lotto winners, chances are not really there, but that is the reason why those chances are so high when it comes to the lotto, is getting rich very quick is very difficult. Now, of course, like I said before, you're going to have that 1% that does something incredible. They bought, Bitcoin when it was 6/100ths of a cent and actually held it with $3,000, which made them a billionaire over a certain amount of time. But overall, for a majority of people, they do lose a ton of money out of here. And the final one we talk about, and again, this is kind of counterintuitive to what Dave Ramsey does and what he says, but Ramit, I know, says the exact same with I Can Teach You How to Be Rich, not taking advantage of your credit card rewards programs. Now, this is really, again, something where it seems like a lot of people have drawn a line in the sand. Overall, when it comes to getting rewards cards and getting reward points, the individuals that are not paying off the cards are essentially funding your rewards. Even if you're getting them, you're paying them off, you're beating the system, you know how to really make it happen. You have to think really, and a lot of people really see it as a moral line, meaning that I'm taking money from one group of individuals and giving it to another individuals, but overall it is up to your choice. But making sure, again, the only way that you're taking advantage of any rewards program, period, is if you're paying off that card in its entirety. If you're carrying a balance, not only are you overspending, you're getting more rewards, but when you're carrying a balance, your high interest rate on that credit card, you are paying for the rewards up front with long-term. And a lot of people get reward points and never use them. They literally accumulate or they expire, or they eventually get to the point of, the card goes to bankruptcy, it goes to collections, they stop paying it. There can be a lot of ways that those points can just be clawed back and taken back. Reading in the fine print of the credit cards. And the final one I'm going to leave you with today, not communicating with your partner about money, whether it is your partner, your spouse, your wife, even your family. You have to be communicating and talking about money. When you look at divorce cases, most of the divorces happen because of one, infidelity, and two, finances. Those are the really two big ones where everything does happen. Making sure that you have open lines of communication. And again, I really stress bringing your children into it. When it comes to budgeting, they really need to realistically see what things cost. When you're going out to the movies, when you're going out to Dave & Buster's, really talking to them and understanding the value of money at a very young age is going to be a game changer, honestly, for the rest of their lives. When they put a little bit more emphasis, when they put a little bit more value on money, it is going to make a big game changer difference. Knowing the needs, between the needs and the wants, knowing the difference between them, and exactly how to budget at a young age, how to save their allowance for things that they want, allowing them to save a little while spending a little can really teach them those habits. And the final bonus one, not balancing enjoyment with future planning. This goes right back to the YOLO movement, where a lot of people say you only live once. That's exactly what it stands for. My old self, yes, we had to look that up years and years ago when people started saying it. But overall, a lot of people are doom spending. A lot of people are YOLO, meaning that they are spending literally everything they have. They're not saving for retirement. They're not putting in an HSA. We're not seeing the IRA accounts. And they are literally living at or above their means, supplementing that income with credit card debt, which of course we know with temptation, with everything in the world, everything you can do, creating and having these habits are going to be absolutely devastating for your finances. If you're not putting away anything, if you're not doing an emergency fund, if you're not repaying your debt, it is going to come crashing down. I promise you. I see it on a regular basis with a lot of individuals where they get to the point where either they can't do any loans, they can't find any way to consolidate everything. They've ran out of the balance transfers because they're not managing their debt overall. All right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And if you like the content we're putting out there, definitely subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next video.